Hey guys, Kurt Haas here from Hostile Conditioning. Just getting ready to shoot another Periscope. I'm recording this for YouTube as well too, so there's going to be some questions and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, if you see me look a little funny, it's because I'm looking at my iPhone as well as I'm recording on my laptop. One of the things what I wanted to cover today is after shooting my last Periscope or my first one, I had a lot of people commenting how they liked the fact that I was talking about the struggle of being 40 and over, evaluating our life, seeing where we're at, what's going on, and how we're feeling. The aspect of mortality, meaning that we're at a point where once we hit 40, 45, 47 in my case, you realize that ideally we're halfway over. Hopefully we'll live to be 80s and 90s and even 100 if that is meant to be. But however, what we do have control of, whether we live to be 80 or 90, is the quality of life we have. How long we live is important, but how well we live is even more important overall. What happens to a lot of people is once they hit this age, people call it the midlife crisis. I call it, a midlife realization maybe, where we realize that we may have been working on things that we thought were important that aren't so important anymore once we start to put things in perspective and see what's really important, especially once we've achieved some experience in life and maturity. Uh, Maturity is can be vague. Some people are super mature, some people are super immature. It depends on your point of view and where you're at. But usually, at 40 something, we've started to establish or have established ourselves in our careers, in our businesses, families. I'm a father of two. I have a 12 and a 14-year-old. I'm married. I've been married for it's going to be 20 years in 2016, so 19 years. I have to make that math right in case my wife sees this. Um, Great marriage. It's had challenges. I like anything else and stuff. Great family. Two wonderful kids who I love. 12 and 14. They're at the age where I also want to, choke them out sometimes, and that's part of being a teenager for sure. Um, but the biggest thing that happens is we want to start, feeling better and looking better. Our self-esteem. We spend so much time working on other things that we've taken away the focus on ourselves. We don't want to be totally selfish, but we also have to realize that oftentimes we're the leader in our community, in our family, one of the leaders. If it's a good partnership. So our energy level, our outlook is super important as to how it affects those around us, especially our children, and they're going to form their personalities and characteristics, based on what they see and feel as they grow up. So super important. We're always on as parents for sure, and then as a business owner and owning a training and conditioning facility, where I'm there to help people improve. You know, Always on there as well too. So walking the walk and talking the talk, although very hard, is very important. And for myself, it's obviously I'm not perfect. I always say if we were perfect, we'd be walking around, we'd have abs and be walking around with our shirts off all the time. So obviously, it's a progress and it's a state of mind and it's something that we want to always look to improve on. One of the three, like I said earlier, is I want to cover three tips today. Um, the three most basic ones, I think. You're going to see a lot of, what I'm seeing on Periscope is a lot of people putting a lot of good information out there and content, but I want to really focus on every Periscope to put some actionable tips out there. So stuff that you can take away from this Periscope and you can actually, or video, that you can take and actually, implement today, right away, or add on to what we've already been doing, if you've been following for a while now, or hopefully, following. Um, so being a strength and conditioning facility, I think a lot of people would assume automatically it'd be like join a gym and work out and do all that stuff. Although that's great, I think a lot of us that get to a point in our mid 40s and stuff, we start to feel overwhelmed and we feel like we're not ready to go to the gym. People are going to look at me. People are going to I'm not going to be able to do this. It's going to be uncomfortable. A lot of things. So I really like to focus on the basics. Ideally, if you're around here, we come into our facility and we work with you. But this is some stuff you're going to be able to do right away. The first tip, and this is something I come to often with all my clients, is as simple as walking. I want people to walk every day. If it's nasty outside, wear a raincoat or get a treadmill. It's probably one of the most useful pieces of equipment you can actually have. But a 10 to 20 minute walk. Just get out there, some fresh air, some movement, early as possible in the day is something I really recommend. Most of my mornings, when I'm teaching a 6 a.m. class, I'm up at 4:30 working on some personal ritual stuff. There's a 10-minute exercise component in there, and then as soon as I can, after I teach a class, if I have a client or so afterwards, then after that I'll try and get a workout, a walk in, and get some fresh air, some sunlight, and just clears the mind. I'll listen to a podcast, I'll get things going. But from a physical point of view, The walking is just what starts everything happening. The body starts to move better. You start to actually, it cured my lower back issues. It just keeps your body moving, keeps it limber, gets a lot of blood flow happening. It brings nutrition, into key parts of your body. It gets waste material out of there, and it just helps your body heal better, especially if you start working out more intensely. You start to get a little beat up. Walking is a great steady state exercise, we call it, or a 5 or 6 out of 10 exertion level that helps your body recover. Good for blood flow and oxygenation, like I said, but at the same time doesn't beat up your ligaments and joints and back and nervous system. So it helps you recover actually for the next more intense workout once you get to that point. But again, the other part of it too is, I recommend having an iPod or an iPhone or some device where you can actually listen to a podcast or music or something where you can just think and meditate and be within your own head. And a lot of times, early morning is good because it's before the day starts. Because a lot of times once we step into our day, there's no time for this. It's just we haven't got time for it, and there's too much going on, or we got too much chaos, or we haven't organized things enough yet. So we want to get in there and get there before the world wakes up around us. So if you get up at 6, get up at 5:30. If you get up at 5:30, get up at 5. It's not going to kill you. It's going to get you used to. But again, go to bed half an hour earlier. Most of the time, we're wasting time watching TV or doing frivolous stuff on the internet and stuff. So there's half an hour to be found to start. And once you start doing that on a regular basis, I tell my people, get 30 days of that in, and you're going to see and feel things totally different. And most people are surprised at just how much of a difference it makes, because at first they're like, well, walking, that's no big deal. That seems pretty easy. It makes a big deal. Those of you that are already walking, I walk the dogs, I walk the kids to school, that's great. But then I want you to do something above and beyond. When you get the dogs back, go out and do another 10, 15-minute walk for yourself. That time for yourself, alone with no real distractions, is more important than anything else. I get this comment a lot where people say, well, I work a physical job, I do this, I do that. Well, the one thing I like to think about and remind people is, if we want to make a change, we have to understand that what we've been doing up to now has got us up to this point. To go further, we need to add, we need to change, we need to modify. So, it's an additional 10 to 20 minutes, if you're already walking and stuff. If you're already doing a 20, 30, 40-minute purposeful walk, that's fantastic. Then you're a bit ahead of what a beginner would be. Again, I'm thinking about people looking and listening to this that are just really starting to rebuild and start from scratch. So, for a lot of you guys, starting 10, 20 minutes is going to be a challenge to get organized, a challenge to be consistent. I'm outside, as you can tell, so trucks are going back behind my house and stuff, so it might get a little noisy. Get that walk in every day, super important. The second most important it is about a meal. The second most important tip is I want you guys to start every day, your first meal as soon as possible after that walk, within an hour or so getting up, is start off with a smoothie. You hear a lot about smoothies. Keep it simple. I recommend 2 scoops of whey protein, which will give you about 45 to 50 grams of protein, and mix it with in water and with a half a cup of raw oats. Don't cook the oats. Don't cook the oatmeal. The raw oats, the stuff that takes 10 to 12 minutes to cook. It's a great carb source, but it's also a slow release carb source. There's good fiber in there as well. And combining the protein and the carbs together give you a slower release of the carbs, the sugars in the bloodstream, so you don't get that spike and then that drop. So if you're going to Tim Hortons, or if you're in the States listening to this, Dunkin' Donuts and stuff, you're not getting the sugar rush where you grab a muffin or a couple donuts and a coffee with double. You pound that back, you feel good, you get a little rush of energy, but 90 minutes later you start feeling like crap because your sugar spiked and then dropped. Because those sugars hit you way too fast. All carbs convert sugar into the bloodstream, so don't kid yourself. What we want to try and do is limit the amount of carbs and work with entry level or speed of those carbs as well. So a complex carb like a raw oatmeal will take longer to digest, so it'll be more of a slow, sustained energy release. You'll have smoother energy because of that. And in the presence of protein, a little bit of insulin response, where the response to the sugar in the bloodstream will actually pull the protein into your muscle cells, help you recover better, keep organ health strong and healthy, and help with hormone production. It's a great way to start the day. It'll stabilize your energy, like I said, and it'll get you to lunch no problem. And then at that point, hopefully you're working on better health nutrition. And we'll talk a bit more about that overall. The other thing, the third thing that some people don't put enough emphasis on, and it's only until the last 3 months, 4 months, where I really started doing it on a regular basis, is take 15 minutes in the morning. In between, you just finished that walk, you're having that smoothie, get a journal, a notebook, something like this. That's what I use, a nice journal. It was a gift to me by a company, my coaching company, that coaches me in business and that kind of stuff. And every day I do an hour ritual. We'll get more into that a little bit later on and stuff. But start off simple, 15 minutes of just writing down, sometimes as simple as, the date, the time, and then how you're feeling, what your objective for the day is. Just start doing it. And, when I look back when I first started journalizing, what I wrote then and what I write now is definitely evolved. Because like anything else, it's a habit, it's a skill set, and we've gotten better at it. But bottom line, it's a really good way to start to really get your mind dialed in. And as you guys start doing that on a regular basis, I'm gonna, show you guys some other things that I do that to grow from that. I have a whole morning ritual that I do in the morning. It takes about an hour, and it starts with everything from silence and meditation to visualization, right up to 10 minutes of exercise, like I said before, and writing, and then actually reading for 10 minutes. Reading every day is super important for the mental development. I read a lot of self-help. I read a lot of motivation books. I read a lot of business books because that's, my second passion next to helping people is building my business. Um, but these things, require some consistency. Don't beat yourself up if you miss a day, but at the same time, don't let yourself off the hook and say, oh, it's okay if I miss today and that kind of thing. Make it a habit, but make it simple, right? I think we start to overwhelm ourselves. We try to do too much at once, and we just get too many things happening. So, walk every day. Start at that 10, 15-minute walk. It's simple. Go out the door, turn left for 10 minutes, turn around, come back. When I first started and I weighed 400 pounds, I was 400 pounds power lifter. I had trouble going upstairs. My back was jacked. Getting to the end of the driveway was a challenge. I started walking every day, and it took me about a month to be able to walk a kilometer. And I used to have to walk and find something to sit on every 400 or 500 feet because my back was horrible and stuff. I'd look at a bench, try to make it to that bench. Look at a rail, try to get to that rail and stuff. To within 30 days, I could walk a kilometer, and then one became two, and then two became three. And then I got to the point where I was walking 3-4 times every day, a little bit, but 3 times a week I was walking 3K. And then I went to 3K and then a 5K. And then I went from a 3, a 5, and a 10. And then I actually started training and I ran my first 5K race. And again, 300 and some odd pounds, right? So 400 pounds down to 300 pounds was quite the journey, over 4 or 5 years ago when I made that change. As a power lifter, I still weigh around the 310 mark, but at the same time, nutrition is still my challenge. So again, it's not about being perfect; it's about continually working on yourself and making things happen and just fix and stay consistent and keep fighting that good fight. But again, what's going to happen, like I said in the title, for a lot of guys, we get to a point where we feel helpless and we feel lost, and our self-esteem and our confidence takes a shit, and it affects everything around us. One of the things, I've been looking at Periscope for at least almost a month now, 3 weeks for sure. And I knew I wanted to start doing that, and I wanted to get back into shooting videos. I was a little nervous again about getting back into the videos and stuff because when you haven't done something in a while. But I knew I had to, and it was bugging me. It was bugging me. And the tipping point for me was last Thursday. I went to the AC/DC concert, and I hadn't been to a concert in a while. I'd never seen AC/DC before, and I was really pumped about that. And I was sitting. It was in a football stadium in Ottawa. If you guys are from Ottawa, you know the TD place. And I was at the very end, at the other end of the football field from the stage, but it was still freaking loud. My ears rang for a couple of days anyway. But I was sort of, as you came out of the that walkway into the stands, I was just up like 3 or 4 seats in and that kind of thing. So, but I had a really good view as when people would come up. And one thing I saw a lot of, because it was AC/DC, there was a lot of older fans. So a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. AC/DC has been around a long time. And I was really taken back by the amount of guys I saw that were 40s into the late 50s, and it was something I saw over and over again. I'd see a couple come up, and the girl would come up, the spouse, the girlfriend, or whatever, and she was done up and all dressed for concert. Some were dressed nice, some were dressed a little slutty. It's a rock concert, it's pretty cool. But and you could tell the women that were taking care of themselves and their parents. They weren't all skinny and stuff like that, but you could tell they were healthy and they were into investing into their healthy, and taking care of themselves. But ultimately times they were also accompanied by their husband, who was again over 40 into that late 50 range, and overweight, just walking, but just no confidence, no self, no bravado, no chest up puffed a little bit, that kind of thing. And a lot of guys, when they came around that corner and they would look at their ticket and they would look and see they have to go 5, 10, 20 more rows up, I would see often a look of, not a look of like, oh shit, here I go, a look of, fuck, this is going to be tough. And that to me was that reminder that, I've got to do something to try and help all those guys out there that are, find themselves into that stage where they're over 40 and they feel like shit and they move and they're way overweight and they don't have the strength and their backs are bad. If we get to the point where we're faced with 15 flights of stairs and we truly feel like, how am I going to do this? We really need to do something, and it's disheartening. It was actually tough for me to see because I felt for these guys. I've been there. Um, at 310 pounds, I can still run up a couple flights of stairs, and I'll be breathing hard on top, but I can hammer it no problem. But 4 or 5 years ago, I would have been that guy turning the corner and going, "Fuck, how am I going to do this?" And then next thing you know, you're thinking, "I'm fat, and I'm overweight, and I'm weak, and I feel like shit," right? Well, what kind of state of mind is that to be into? That's truly disheartening. And again, at 40 and 50, man, we got lots of years left. So do you want to sit there and have that feeling on you all day, every day? And don't think it doesn't affect us. Guys, we try to come off as being tough and stuff like that, but inside, we have weaknesses and we have emotions and stuff. And in some cases, maybe we're even more emotional than women on certain aspects and stuff. We try to, and society portrays men as being all tough on the inside and outside. But again, at the end of the day, guys, you know, it's how we feel. And if we feel good and we move well and we feel strong, right? I don't care if you can do one push-up or 100 push-ups. I don't give a shit about that. But if we feel strong, we feel confident, and that confidence radiates out from us, and it affects our world around us, right? And what we project is what we attract as well. So, I just being there and not liking it and wanting to improve and working with my clients at Hostile and seeing the transformations they make. They lose the weight, that's fine, but I'm more impressed when they come in and they're excited the fact that they can do 10 push-ups. When I get women who come in and they wanted to lose 30, 40 pounds and they had trouble doing a push-up off their knees, and a couple months later they can do 5 off their toes. They're so excited about that it's incredible. And in fact, that becomes a big story where they're talking about that more to their friends. And, oh yeah, I lost 15 pounds. That weight loss, the thing that initially got them in, becomes a secondary issue. It's the strength and the capability. And for guys, it's the same thing. When I see a guy, evolve so much that when he walks in, I can see it in his eyes. And he's confident and he's feeling good. And next thing you know, he's telling me how his world is better and his life is better. I get emails from wives thanking me for helping their husbands and stuff like that, right? It's really, really cool to see. And it's great to be a part of that. And, to know that you help someone, that's very rewarding as a coach. But at the same token, I can just imagine how much better they feel inside because I've gone through it. That's the big difference, with what we do. Is I'm the 47-year-old guy. I'm the guy who's lost 100 pounds. So I know what it's like to feel shitty. I know what it's like to feel better, and I know what it's like to strive and hit goals. I'm competing in the bench again after a couple of years off. I'm almost as strong as I was 5, 6, 8 years ago, and it's consistency. So that's the really big, powerful thing. So that's really what I wanted to cover today. I wanted to go over, and we're gonna, like I said, one of my goals, and I've written it down here. If you look at my daily journal, I try to write. I have 3 or 4 things that I'm always working and focusing on. Right, battery low. Right, and number 4, Periscope every day, so that I get out there and get more messages out there and do what I can to help people out there. If you're listening to this or watching this and you're under 40, these principles still apply. If you find that you're in your 20s and 30s and your health is terrible and you're overweight and you feel terrible, these are the exact same principles you want to use. It's just that the mindset, when you hit 40 and over, is something I can relate better to, and I think those guys out there will relate better to what I'm saying and how I'm going through it. But listen, if you're 20 or 30 years old and you need to get going, this stuff works for you guys as well too. Get it done. In fact, if you jump on it sooner, you're going to avoid a lot of issues that you're going to have to deal with later on as well too, right? So don't think that you're too young to start. But however, like I said, I'm focusing on you guys over 40. I'm here to help you guys. My name is Kurt Haas from Hostile Conditioning. Like me, share me. If you want to give me some hearts, if you have any questions, and do that. Like, I understand the hearts thing is important for popularity, and I want to get my message out there and talk to more people. But at the end of the day, if I can just help one person, then I know I've done something really important, and that's my mission. So anyway, Kurt Haas, Hostile Conditioning, Silverback Blueprint, saying, crush it.